Just 4 days ago the meta was all over the place and it would have been impossible to make a proper tier list, but right now all the win rates are figured out, everything is set in stone, and we can now confidently rank everything based on success with 100% proven data analysis and everything. So let's go for it. Starting off with Lithium EX, that deck is completely dead, no one is even playing it anymore, and it never top 16 or anything, it completely vanished. As I told you, this deck is unplayable garbage. And yeah, it is proven to be 100% unplayable garbage. And that's why we put it into F tier, because this is the only place this deck could belong. It even barely made the list at all anymore. Then we have Darkrai. Yeah, this deck is also, it did not vanish completely like the Lithium EX did. But yeah, the success of this deck is mediocre, but it is still there. It makes top 16 and stuff, but yeah, rarely top 8, and yeah, not more than top 8, like pretty much never, you know. So it is fair to put it in C right here. The deck still exists, but it's not shaking the world or anything, so I can't put it any higher than C. It is way better, of course, than Lithium EX, but yeah, the success is just too mediocre to put it any higher than C. Arceus EX, excuse me, is a clear A tier. This has one of the highest win rates in the game, and even with Carnivine and Dialga, it has two different deck lists that are always up there. It never wins a tournament, it never gets that first place in any tournament that matters, but it has two deck lists that are always there, very present, like top 2, top 3, top 5 is like always, right? In every tournament this deck is on top, but you have to keep in mind that this thing doesn't have the highest win rate, and it never gets first place in anything that really matters, you know. So it's not S tier, it's not even close actually. We have a clear winner here, but yeah, A tier is very, very fair, because in many tournaments, and pretty much all tournaments out there, this deck is always on top, but never first place. Then we have Charizard, who also, yeah, kinda vanished. It is not as bad as Lithium EX. It is still the #1 best deck in its archetype. If you play Fire Energy, you always play the Charizard and nothing else. But it barely sees top 16. It is barely even played, and yeah, the success is very, very mediocre. It has less success even than the Darkrai. And yeah, for that reason I won't put it in F, because it's the best deck in its archetype at least, but the success is too low to put it any higher than D. It has to be below Darkrai and it has to be above Lithium, so D is the perfect place for the Charizard. Next up we have Rampardos, which is still pretty relevant. It won even some big tournaments here and there, but the overall success of this deck is not high enough to put it in like S, or like when we put Arceus in A, where he belongs, we have to put Rampardos below that, because Rampardos, while it won some big things here and there, the overall success though is way below Arceus. It is not consistent enough to put it into A tier, so the perfect place is the B tier. Moving on to Gyarados, I don't know what Dialga is doing here. Dialga is always played together with Arceus, so there's no reason to put that one onto the list if Arceus is already there. So now we have Gyarados. Yeah, that one is kind of tough to rank, because it's kind of in the same ballpark as the Charizard, as it sees a very low amount of play and it barely ever makes top 16, though it is a little bit better than Charizard, but it is not as good as Darkrai by any means. So yeah, I will put it in D. Keep in mind, it's a little bit better than Charizard though, but I can't put it in C because it is not at all as good as Darkrai, you know. It would belong between these two, but I will put it in D. With you, please keeping in mind that it is a little bit more successful than a Charizard and a little bit more played as well for that reason. So there you go, that's Gyarados. The next up we have Executor, who he lost his S rank. Like, he was one of the best decks to get. He was the #1 best deck together with Darkrai in Space Time Smackdown. Now that changed a lot. This guy also vanished a little bit, but it is still there. It is still played. You can play it even with the water energy, and you have now the combination of Erika and Irida to heal this thing. So it is still kind of a raid boss, you know. And it would belong between B and C. It is better than Darkrai, no question about it, but the success would put it a little bit below Rampardos. But it is way better than Darkrai, so I will put it in B tier. And please keep in mind that Rampardos sees more success, right? It is a higher play rate, a higher win rate, and overall better than Executor. But don't underestimate the Executor still. It is a raid boss and very, very hard to play against and take down. So there you go. It would belong between B and C. That doesn't exist, so it is, since it's way better than Darkrai, I will put it in B. That's about it. And then we have Palkia, finally. Yeah, this is our clear best deck in the game without any question anymore whatsoever. This thing dominates the meta completely. It has even the #1 highest win rate deck in the game is the Palkia Cheese, where the only Pokemon you play are 2 Palkias. That is the #1 best deck in the game, rocking a 55% win rate. And the second best deck in the game is another Palkia EX deck list with Palkia EX, Palkia Origin Form, and Manaphy. This thing comes at second place at a 52% win rate, and then comes the Dialga Arceus with a 51% win rate. So Palkia is by far the best deck in the game. It holds first place and second place all together with 2 different deck lists, and nothing competes against that. Nothing comes even close to that. 55% win rate is unmatched. Then we have Articuno, which is also like the cheese, right? You only play Articuno. And let me tell you real quick again why these cheese decks with like only 2 Palkia EX or only 2 Articuno EX in your deck are the best decks in the game. That is because the game, Pokemon TCG Pocket as a game, is so flawed in its design, and the biggest flaw it has, amongst many other flaws, but the biggest flaw is that you are so incredibly reliant on how you draw. The RNG that comes into play when you draw cards is so incredibly shit in this game. Every single deck that ever existed in this game relies on you drawing this one key card that you need, and if you don't draw this key card that you need, then your deck really either becomes completely unplayable, or it win rates and its play rate, it plummets so incredibly hard. And we have to get more cards we have to get more draw engines and more search engines. This Pokemon communications, they are too inconsistent, and Professor Oak as the only draw engine in the game is just not enough. Hope the game developers will realize that at some point. It's already too late, you know. The cheese is already taken over, because these decks that whenever you play only like a Palkia EX in your deck as the only Pokemon, you are always guaranteed to draw that. And that eliminates the massive flaw that this game has, because you are always 100% guaranteed to have the card in your starting hand that you need in order for your deck to be played maximum efficiency, you know, whatever else you play. If you, for example, you play that Arceus Dialga, if you don't draw that Dialga early, you are not pretty much, right? You are screwed, in fact. You cannot start with Arceus, you cannot start with anything, you have to have that Dialga, and if you don't, your win rate plummets hardcore. If, like most cases, your deck becomes completely unplayable. Same for this Rampardos deck. If you don't get that Rampardos out fast enough, your deck is shit, right? The Executor. If you don't get that Executor out fast enough, your deck is shit. If you don't draw into the Darkrai early enough, your deck is shit. You know where this is going, you see? And Palkia and Articuno, they have a workaround. They don't need this RNG, right, when it comes to how you draw. They are always 100% guaranteed in your hand, in your starting hand, because they are the only Pokemon that you play, right? And now with Irida and Rocky Helmet and Giant Cape and all that stuff, they can make up for sometimes being too slow if you don't hit heads with the Misty, right? So yeah, they have a workaround this draw RNG, and that's why they are the best decks in the game. And yeah, Palkia is by far the best deck in the game. Nothing even comes close there. So yeah, I just want to get that out of the way real quick. So Articuno, yeah, the problem that Articuno has is obvious. You would never play this deck in the first place, because why, right? You just play the Palkia, and that's it. No reason to ever play that Articuno anymore, because now we 100% know Palkia is better than Articuno. So you would never play it. But this deck is still one of the best decks in the game. It is better than Rampardos, it is better than Executor, but the success it sees is below Arceus, and that's why I have to put it in B, right? Yeah, the success is only below Arceus because, as I just said, the deck is rarely played, because everyone, if you play that deck, you play it with Palkia, right? Otherwise, if that wouldn't be the case, then it would be better than Arceus EX in success, easily, right? But yeah, for how things are right now, I have to put it in B. I can't put it in A. That would not be fair to Arceus, you know? So I put it in B, which is a fair, perfect place, as yeah, you would never play this because you would play Palkia instead. And there you go. That's like that's really the perfect tier list. Pretty much, yeah. Some things like Darkrai, Charizard, Gyarados, you could switch this up a little bit if you want, but yeah, here the S tier, the A tier, the B tier, that is set in stone. That is 100% proven by data now. All the tournaments show the same result. The win rates are crystal clear here, and yeah, they tell you the story. So there you go. That's our Triumphant Light tier list for now, and we did it. That's it for the video, guys. Until next time, take care of yourselves, have a great day, and bye bye.